What are they doing here?
I don't know. AC is acting funny.
It seems like everything's fine with the air conditioning. Is anybody messing with the temperature? Are you 64.com?
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Tonight, two North Augusta shootings, one deadly just hours and blocks away from each other. The latest straight ahead. But first up, we're tracking a risk for a strong storm, some wind, maybe. Thanks a lot. Our top story on News 12 at 6 o'clock. One man is dead, another woman injured after two separate shootings in a North Augusta neighborhood this morning. In the last couple of hours, the coroner confirming that 24-year-old killed is Carnell Nelius III. That shooting happened in a neighborhood just a half mile away from North Augusta's middle school. Will Rio was on the scene most of this day. So, Will, what else do we know about these two separate shootings?
Yeah, in less than 5 hours, two different shootings happening in the same neighborhood at around 4:40 a.m. A 52-year-old woman was shot in the 600 block of Hutchinson Street and taken to the hospital, according to the Aiken County Sheriff's Office. Now, later that morning, shots rang out right around the corner where 24-year-old Carnell Nelius the third was gunned down. Now, yellow tape lined neighbors' yards on Weston Street this morning and into this afternoon as investigators continue their search for answers. While that was happening, the entire road was blocked off and a crowd of neighbors gathered slowly as they watched deputies process the scene there. The call came in at around 10:04 this morning for shots fired. When deputies got to the home, they found the victim in the doorway with the door still open. Now, the only piece of information released so far about who may have done this is a white or gray colored hatchback was seen leaving the area in a hurry. Several neighbors we talked to say that they heard the gunshots early this morning and saw a white colored vehicle leaving the neighborhood. Now, right now, the sheriff's office is focusing on getting closure for a grieving family.
Our job is to investigate the facts. Right now we have somebody that is deceased, and obviously our community and the family has been affected. We encourage anybody in this community or anybody that's outside this community that has some information, just come forward with it.
The sheriff's office has not told us if these two shootings are connected in any way. They say it's too early to say if this is gang related, but we did see members of their gang unit at the home this morning investigating.
A lot of questions there and a lot of concerned neighbors about all this. Well, thank you. We're learning new details about Augusta's recovery efforts after that cyber attack. Most of the network is back online except for three major systems. And here they are: the Geographic Information Systems, the Enterprise Asset Management System that depends on GIS, the Solid Waste Operations System, and Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson talked about the restoration process with us this afternoon.
So people that are going out to our landfill, as I mentioned, that is a remote location. We're still working through the process there. Things are going well. We don't see any problem with coming back online. But as you know, just getting all of our servers and everything back online just takes time. And we're doing it in a very diligent way to make sure that we don't incur any additional unauthorized access to our system. And none has occurred again since our reboot. So that is the good news.
Meanwhile, our Taylor Martin went around the city today checking on what's working and what's not.
Nearly 4 weeks down, and now most services are finally getting back up. Customers are saying,
"Oh yeah."
After living in Augusta for 24 years, Michael Dobbs was used to paying his utility bill one way, but for a few weeks, he and other customers had to step out of the norm.
The lady told me that the systems was down and that I could pay the bill at the kiosk.
But today, Animal Services, Probate Court, and the Tax Commissioner's Office say they're able to serve the community.
Actually, as of yesterday, we were fully operational. We had not completed all of our tests, but today everything is complete. So we're back to your normal tax commissioner's office.
Mayor Johnson says it's all possible thanks to a global system reset and Wi-Fi restoration. And while those steps were successful, the work is far from over.
We're starting to restore our departments back to functionality. Are we 100% there? Not necessarily. We still have some off-site departments that are still experiencing some issues.
Even though not all departments are fully restored, people in Augusta, like Michael, are just happy to continue paying their bills the way they please.
I really like to pay my bills in person.
In Augusta, Taylor Martin, on your side.
And the mayor would not comment on any questions about how the city's insurance policy might play a role in the situation. He did confirm, though, there is an insurance policy in place, but he didn't go into specifics about that policy. There is a new push now to solve a Richmond County cold case from 2010. On Thanksgiving Day, Nancy Cushman and Angela Brooks were found dead near Twig Street and Laney Walker Boulevard. A bystander was walking around that area around 2 o'clock in the morning and found two victims near the train tracks. Richmond County deputies found a car associated with the pair, but the case went cold. The sheriff's office sending out a request for information today. Meanwhile, Governor Kemp is investing $5 million to fund new cold case units within the GBI. A new Georgia law allows families of homicide victims to ask law enforcement to look back on these unsolved cases. Hallie Turner says the bill could offer hope to families of more than 170 cold case victims right here in Richmond County.
And it's about to be 23 years and there's still nothing.
23 years of questions, sleepless nights, and no closure as to who took her brother's life.
Who are you to take a life when you didn't give a life? That was my only brother, my mom's only son, my father's only son, his two daughters. It was raw of them getting to know him.
Without a motive or a suspect.
So it went cold. At the time, Richard Roundtree, he was the investigator on the case at the time. He was working exceptionally hard in regards to finding the murderers.
According to documents from the sheriff's office, this is the case for 171 other families in Richmond County.
Many questions posed in my brain. What's the case worked as it should? There's something else that can be done. What can we do now, today?
The sheriff's office does have a cold case unit, but this year, Governor Kemp signed into law the Coleman-Baker Act, a bill designed to help families of murder victims like the Lewis family get closure.
I'm to the point, even if they have to go and dig up the remains, if any evidence that they can actually get from the grave, exhaust all means necessary, because I want to just kind of put this at ease.
The bill requires law enforcement agencies to provide exact numbers of unsolved homicide cases. Families of homicide victims can request law enforcement to review cold cases and apply new technology and resources to the case.
There's hope. We just need the right people in place to accommodate the diagnostics and the logistics of that field, and of course it's the new technology.
She promised her parents when they died she would get justice.
I told my father, I said, mark my word, I want to find Skeeta's killer.
The new cold case law goes into effect July 1st, and we do plan to sit down with the GBI to hear more about the team they're putting together for this cold case unit, where the money's going, and what kind of technology they'll be using. Augusta City Commissioner is trying to tackle the ongoing issues at the Olive Road Bridge. Today, a committee pushed a plan forward for GPS services like Apple and Google and Maps and Waze to add a notification warning drivers of the low bridge as they approach it. They say most of the trucks that hit the bridge are not locals.
For people who use GPS, that may be a solution, but there's also an opportunity to turn left on White Road, and folks still hit the bridge. There's an opportunity to turn left on the Jordan or somewhere near Jordan. Folks still hit the bridge. So at the end of the day, I don't think any piece of legislation or any device that we put up will solve this issue.
But the full commission will vote on that plan at their next meeting. In the last half hour, we've learned new details about postal services at the Clearwater office, the post office there, after part of that building caught fire this morning. Until further notice, services at the building are being relocated. Firefighters were called to the scene around 4 in the morning. A small fire contained in just one room over there, but there is some smoke and water damage in other parts of the building. The ATF is looking into the fire. Services are being diverted to the Bath Post Office for now on Augusta Road. If you need to pick up the mail, they're going to be open during normal business hours. If you have a P.O. box, you'll need your photo ID to pick up your mail. Still to come here on News 12, we uncover a hidden gem tucked away in the Low Country in this week's One Tank Trip.
And as you're heading out the door this evening, we have relatively dry conditions in Augusta, but things are going to become a little bit more stormy as we go through the morning and the afternoon. A pretty good hail risk, especially for some of our western counties. We'll break down the full forecast coming up next. Storms.
Anthony, thanks. Time now for another One Tank Trip, and this week we're heading to the beach. Will Vogt shows us Botany Beach, where you can get an experience you won't find anywhere else.
the South Carolina State Show.
When you park, a volunteer like Jim Wenthy will greet you.
People come here because it's not built up. It's still like it was and hasn't changed much.
Every year, tens of thousands of people walk down this half-mile trail, and this is what they come for.
There's these dead trees, and it's a very beautiful beach.
Erosion is moving the shore further inland, and it's taking these trees with it. Now at high tide, there is no beach, but at low tide, you get this.
This is a great little location, nice and secluded, quiet, which is what we like.
Jordan Neely brought his family here for the first time.
That's beautiful. It's got the Boneyard Beach here with all the trees and beautiful shells, and not near as busy as a normal beach.
The beach is covered with shells. You can't take them, so instead, many people hang them on trees. Botany Bay may not be your typical beach, but for those who come here, that's okay.
You're not going to find the bathrooms you need for kids and things like that, but it's worth it.
At the beach, Will Volk on your side.
Just a beautiful spot there. Botany Bay is a little less than 3 hours away from Augusta, and it's free to go. The Vaughn Taylor Championship off and running now. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from the tournament's namesake about the move to Bartram Trail.
First Alert Radio.
The father of Aubrey, Anthony, is suing the city of Augusta and the Housing Authority. Aubrey was killed last year in a drive-by shooting at Dogwood Terrace Apartments. The lawsuit claims there were not enough security measures in place with a reoccurring crime going on there. It goes on to say the complex failed to provide controlled access, active security, proper lighting, and more that could reduce crime in the area. The lawsuit alleges the defendants failed to take any steps to keep the tenants safe, ultimately leading to Aubrey's death. Anthony is suing for the loss of his daughter's life, medical expenses, pain and suffering, funeral, and burial costs.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
The Vaughn Taylor Championship is back, and this time it's at the Bartram Trail Golf Club. With junior golfers traveling to Evans from all over the United States and Canada, News 12's Alyssa Lyons helps provide context to why this tournament changed locations.
For the last couple of years, the Vaughn Taylor Championship has skipped around the CSRA. It was played at Jones Creek and most recently at Mount Vintage. Now it's at its new home, Bartram Trail, and the reason why, it's just a little closer to home.
It's been quite amazing. I didn't expect to go this long.
New course, new challenges, a new reason to turn up the heat at the Vaughn Taylor Championship.
I feel like every hole is different. You got some long holes, some short holes. You get a lot of wedges in your hands and some scoring opportunities. So it's just a fun course to play.
Since 2019, the Vaughn Taylor Championship was played 30 miles away in North Augusta. Before that, it was played at Jones Creek, two courses that carried pros and cons.
The last Jones Creek and Mount Vintage, the kids struggled with scores. I think, like single digits would win every year.
Bartram is the perfect balance.
Coming here, I thought it would be lower for sure. The course is shorter, a little more wide open. Past places have been tight and narrow and hilly, and just a challenge, all the way around for the kids.
Taylor took the north out of North Augusta.
Looking for a course, in the Augusta area, and this is a little closer to Augusta. And it just works out logistically for a lot of people, and this is hopefully our home for a while now.
To keep it running for another 13 years. In Augusta, Alyssa Lyons on your side.
Thank you, Alyssa. We have 4 local golfers competing this year. After a nice tee shot over the pond onto the 8th green, Augusta native and 12-year-old Tyler Newsom just barely misses this long birdie putt. He would then sink his next putt to save for par. Newsom shot 3 over on the day. Now let's get over to the 9th green, where Nathan Martin from Evans is looking to close out his day with a birdie, but his putt just doesn't have enough on it. Martin went on to save for par as well, ending the round at 2 over. Here's 14-year-old Nicholas Flight on the 9th fairway. His approach shot is money. You can't ask for much more than that in this situation. Flight went on to birdie that hole, bringing his day to an end on a high note at 2 over. Here's what the Evans native had to say about his play after the first 18 holes.
The drive, I kind of pulled it a little bit. I got a little lucky with the bounce, got me into the fairway. Then I hit a 5-wood from 232, just tried to get in the center of the green, which I did pretty well. It was nice right after bogey on 8, so kind of got me back to even on the back.
It's truly amazing how talented these kids are. Round 2 is set to tee off tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. That is it for sports. We'll have one more look at your forecast after the break.
Watch